check this out. No, not the patches. Just a little bit of table decoration. But the topic. I'm going to review some more Cold Steel knives right here, right now, in the TMP Knife Show. Now, you as the viewer have the option of not watching or watching. Seems obvious, right? But judging from some comments I've seen in the last couple weeks, sometimes I wonder about some guys. And I'll be nice, I'll be professional, because that seems to last the test of time. I just don't get some guys. I really don't. You know, some will say, oh, you're a Cold Steel fanboy. Not really. I love a lot of their knives. But if they fail to perform, I bring that to tabletop, don't I? And others will go, oh, you wanted that knife to fail. You were prejudiced against Cold Steel. What? Which is it? You know, guys just trip me, man. It's hilarious. Some YouTubers, man, I just don't get it. So yeah, I'm going to review a lot more Cold Steel because it's a company that gets so many things right. That's what I look for in my reviews. Products that personally excite me. You have to trust me in that process. If you don't trust me, don't watch the videos. Don't subscribe. Unsub. I'm looking for the high quality viewer that trusts me, that trusts my opinion. Imagine that. Judging from comments, though, lately I'm just like, what is with these guys, man? I don't know if they're TMPers. I doubt it. They're probably flybys in the YouTube environment. Low quality comments. Low quality viewers. Sorry. I said it. Trust me. I mean, if it does well, you're going to hear about it. If I have a prejudice against a knife, I'll let you know, as I always have. And if I'm proven wrong in testing and, review, I'll tell you. In the end, you're going to get the honest truth. Isn't that what you're dialed into TMP for? The honest truth? Imagine that. But some people have a lot of guile in their own lives, I guess. And so they project it on everything they see and watch. Hey, yes, guile, there's a secret agenda here. No, there's not. There's not. Like these knives we want to talk about now. These are great blades for the money. I'm excited about them. I expressed that excitement in my 2011 review on some of them. I've talked about the Outdoorsman Lite already. Previously reviewed, highly recommended Soldier Blade in TMP. And let's jump into philosophy of use, because this is where these knives that I'm going to talk about really shine. They are extremely versatile. They are extremely affordable. And yet they're very capable in so many different applications. That's why I'm excited about it. So I bring that excitement to tabletop form for my subscribers, maybe some flybys in YouTube, and they can deal with it. Watch the video, not watch it, but trust the process. In the end, you're going to get the truth. And that's what I'm after, always. So I think in 2011, I talked about this knife, the Outdoorsman Lite, 4116 Krupp steel. Now heavily tested in TMP, by the way. And I'm going to do an update on the steel, which I think, if you're a knife guy, whether you're a Cold Steel fan or not, whatever. Incidentally, I'm a Spyderco fan. In some cases, I'm a Benchmade fan. In some cases, I'm a Kershaw fan, and on it goes. It just depends on the blade. I'm not one of these people, in years past, someone would call a radio station and say, hey, put on anything, for instance, Fleetwood Mac, going back in time, whatever group you want to put on. I'm not like that. It's like some songs are good and some songs aren't so great. Nowadays, you don't request music. You have the music. It's instantly available in digital form. But the point is that not every knife company puts together awesomeness. There's hits and misses. In the end, hopefully I add to the body of knowledge that may improve a product. For instance, that Chaos knife that failed, hey, let's make that in a spring steel. Make it tougher. Then it wouldn't break, right? In the end, don't we get a better product from the process? And I've been part of that process here in TMP for 8 years, making products better. And manufacturers have watched the vids. They've changed the products. What results? Better knife. Some cases, better gun. There you go. But if you compromise your integrity in the process and you say what people want to hear, Hey, this item's awesome. What do you get? Nothing. That's some house cleaning. I gotta get out there because it's been, I don't know. It's just been there. It has to be addressed. Done. Outdoorsman Lite on the table. I think along with that, I reviewed this knife, the Tanto Lite. Incidentally, the red tape just tells me that's a Tanto. The blue tells me that's an Outdoorsman Lite because in the sheath, they look identical. Granted, this has a pointed pommel, but I forget with all the knives. That's the only reason. And what else do we have? We're going to talk about this one, the Fin Bear. Okay, the Pendleton Light Hunter. Oh man, do I love this knife. Great knife. In the wings there are some Moras. And we're going to reference those and bring those in because there really aren't a lot of companies making knives at this price level, this lightweight, all the stuff I talk about and we'll talk about right now. There's just not a lot. And then how about the Finn Wolf? And the reason I'm doing this video is because I hadn't reviewed that, and I'm thinking, do I do separate reviews? Not really, because they're so similar. Wouldn't it be better just to knock out, you know, an update? And that's what we're doing. And the plot will thicken. Keep watching. You're going to like what I'm getting ready to show you. So, and there's some others that aren't on the table, like the Roach Belly. They're all pretty similar. They're the lightweight lineup in cold steel. And we mentioned briefly the soldier application. Now, for you guys not watching a knife show for the last 8 years, whatever, when I talk about a soldier blade, it's something that isn't just about going out stabbing bad guys. Can we just get that out there? That's not what we're talking about. You may have to do that, but the likelihood of that, very slim. Very slim, if ever. More likely, it will be a utility blade that you can get stuff done with. Opening packages, food preparation, just cutting various materials. That's a soldier blade. And one of my prerequisites is that it is lightweight. Easily integrated into LBE, easily integrated to belt carry if that's what you want, or into a pouch. Now, let's just jump in and talk about these sheaths because we're talking about attachment and the sheaths are minimal. They're not great. So here we have the Outdoorsman Lite in the sheath. How do you attach that to LBE? Well, get creative. Remember the cost point too. I mean, it's not a lot. What I would do is take 550 cord, tie that through a MOLLE web. I would get Ranger rubber bands, come around this side, and then come around that other side, or 550 cord. Can totally be done. Can you upside down with it? No. You're going to go right side up, or better yet, just go get a quality sheath made for, yes, these inexpensive knives. Hey, I would never do that. That's a waste of money. Well, I said this, and here's a competitive option, by the way, speaking of Kershaw. How about the Kershaw, what is this one? The Bear Hunter? There's Antelope Hunter and Bear Hunter. So, beautiful knife, 8CR 13 MOV, broad hunting blade, but this model 1029. But it can be used as a soldier blade. I said that in this review, the Kershaw. And then we went ahead and got a beautiful sheath made by Red Hill Kydex. Use code Nutnfancy when you go to redhillsheaths.com. Tell them I sent you. And make a great sheath for it. Then if you ever lose the knife, or someone steals it, or it breaks, or whatever, it's gone, you still have a great sheath. Just buy another knife for $16. So guys who say, well, I would never spend money on a great sheath for such an inexpensive knife, I say reevaluate your system. The sheath will be permanent. The knife, think of as temporary. It's a tool to be used, abused, replaced as necessary, as long as you don't lose your sheath. Now this is MOLLE compatible, Tech Lock, and they have some really nice G-Lock fasteners on there too. This is a naked cam from Red Hill Kydex. Yes, I like it. I think it's cool. I love it. Yeah, do that. Here's one in ATAX. This is in .080 Kydex, which I prefer. It's thinner, lighter. So the sheaths are not remarkable. They're rather unremarkable. You could still run with them, though. The beauty of the sheaths that come with these knives is that they're so lightweight. I mean, all of these are about the same. The Outdoorsman Lite is 6.8 ounces. So is the Tanto Lite. I'm talking in sheath. Oh, and I had the Canadian belt knife. Let me see if I can find it. That's the other one I did not mention. I think I have one. If I don't, pretend I do. It's going to be a very lightweight 3.4 ounces. Same for the Fin Bear, the Pendleton Light Hunter, and the Roach Belly. They don't weigh anything. Super, super lightweight. Philosophy of use. Soldier knife, absolutely. Also, and that's why the Moras are hanging out in the background, I think these are superb survival kit knives, bug out kit knives, backpacking knives. I will tell you this, if I was not doing TMP, these are the knives I would take and have taken. And I say have because I've taken them with, and not just in backpacking, but like on motorcycle expeditions. And I don't make a video on everything, but they come along and they go for the ride because they're so easy to integrate. Same can be said, this is, you saw right here, I label it, Mora Clipper 840 MG. Same for this one, right? These don't weigh anything. This is a better sheath, by the way. I love these sheaths. You know, the Scandi grind I can take or leave. I usually do not prefer it still. But these are great little camp knives. The reason I'm rolling these together is they're the same category. Ultra affordable, ultra lightweight, ultra capable for realistic applications. The Moras come in all different types of steel. We talked about that in that review. You can search them out. Find the steel you like. You need a stainless one? Awesome. You need a carbon steel one? Available. Here's the Mora Top Q, 4.2 ounces stainless steel. 23 bucks. Great little blade. Great little blade. But so these knives right here, are these not comparable to each other in their philosophy of use? So this is the Finn Wolf. And actually, I would prefer the Finn Wolf over this one. I generally don't, we're talking handles here a little bit, I generally don't like the rubberized handle so much. Grasmon clothing, I don't need soft touch rubber on the handle. It's kind of annoying to me. I'd much rather have something like this. A polypropylene, texturize it if you can. A Kraton, texturize it if you can, like this. These are great handles. So this is a Tanto Lite, Outdoorsman Lite, great handles. Love them. Doesn't mean I hate these. I like them. But if you're talking, hey, which one would you prefer? Probably for this one. You know, we talk philosophy of use, and since I have such a wide variety of knives on the table, let's jump into this. Fighting knives. The smaller ones, I've mentioned before, maybe some martial art blade guys like the smaller ones. I've talked about that. I'm not going to mention it. I like the Reach. I think the Outdoorsman Lite and the Tanto Lite and future versions they'll come out with along these lines are excellent fighting knives. Really do. Granted, they don't have awesome guards for, you know, forward ingress into the blade area. I get that. But the handle, again, is so grippy. You know, it has the nodules, it locks in the hand. By the way, on these handles, it's so long you can do non-lethal strikes with them. On the Outdoorsman Lite and the Tanto Lite. I said that in a review. Sorry for repeating it, but it bears repeating. Especially the Tanto. Look at how much length you have right here. Pointed pommel, smacking that. I think both of these are excellent fighting knives. We'll talk about the steel, and we'll come back to that philosophy of use, because maybe someone will go, well, you know, steel's inadequate for fighting. I totally disagree with that. Totally. We'll get to that here in a little bit. Camp knives, though. Backpacking knives, I said these two are very similar. These are knives you cut food with. You do light kindling preparation. Maybe you do some heavy kindling preparation with larger ones, and that's why I went out and tested this one, the Outdoorsman Lite. For one, I wanted to see if my perception on the 4116 Krupp steel was accurate. It is. And to see how it would do. Would it fail? Would it break? How quickly would it dull? First up, these are not chopping knives. They're way too light. They're thin blades. They're elegant slicers. That's really their job, is to slice more than anything, not chop. However, they can split kindling. They can make emergency shelters, given their limitations of SAWC. If you want a chopping knife, then let's see. Here we go. Here comes a Scrapyard Psycho 911, 23 ounces, 5160 steel. Get this knife. That's a chopper, but it's 23 ounces versus 6.8 ounces in sheath. Dig? I just laugh. I mean, guys on the internet act like SAWC still does not matter. They'll talk out their butts. Oh, yeah, but I need this, I need that. I'm like, dude, you know, come backpacking with me. Please. I would love to see you haul that 90-pound load up with whatever you're taking and see how it goes for you. I would love it. I can tell you how it will go. You won't like it. Camp knives, though, to me, they should weigh 5 ounces or less. These do. The Moras do. So do all these smaller light ones. Remember, again, we've already reviewed the Roach Belly. That was the first one I reviewed back in '08. So that was the Roach Belly and then the Pendleton Lite Hunter. Each of these has a different grind. So this is hollow ground. And these are extruded, if I'm not mistaken, 4116. So these are not ground and super high quality steel. You're not going to see beautiful machine marks. They're kind of mass produced 4116, but they get the job done, extruded or not. And for a utility knife, isn't that what we want? We just want something that gets the job done. And you know, if we're talking about a backpacking blade, maybe something that's light enough that if we lose it, we're not going to be crying for 2 weeks. Hey, I lost my Finn Wolf on the backpacking trip. I'll go buy another one. How easy is that? Pretty easy. Philosophy of use still. And there's so much to talk about with this because that's where these knives come into play. I mentioned the motorcycle integration, but if you're a mountain biker on a bicycle, this would be a great emergency blade to take. Same for the Moras. Just lightweight. But if you break down, you need to make a fire. You need to cut some materials. Wouldn't it be good to have a fixed blade with you that weighs 3.4 ounces? I would think so. Everyday carry knives, I think the smaller ones would work. I would definitely upgrade the Sheaths in that situation. So the Pendleton Lite Hunter, I love. And I've talked about the Pendleton Hunter before. It is designed as a hunting knife, as a caping, skinning knife. We get that. But it has a long handle. So it has a very comfortable, long handle, great belly, hollow ground again, drop point. But it also could function as a great EDC knife if you're of that bent. I think most guys who carry EDC knives, I'm talking fixed blade variety, they would not want to be seen with these. I'm talking knife guys. They want to be seen with something cooler. So when their friends see them, I don't know, second cool thing comes into play. For a utility type dude, yeah, man, bring it on. The thing I will say, and we're going to kind of leave POU, we're going to come back. We're going to morph into the steel. The thing I would say is that 4116 is not a great edge holding steel in my experience. It will dull pretty quickly. You know what it reminds me of? And this is dead serious. I haven't read this anywhere, haven't copied it from anywhere. It's just my own experience. 4116 at this point reminds me of VG10. You want to know exactly what I'm talking about? Well, first and foremost is its rust resistance. And this is the part you guys are going to dig. Now, I wanted to test this. So, you haven't seen the Finn Bear, have you? I mentioned it, but it's not on the table. That's because it's right here. How's that for a rust test? So this is 1 month in a salt bath. Here's a photo of when the process started. Simple experiment, right? Let's see how it does. And you're going to see it on camera as we uncrust this knife and see what kind of rust we have on the Finn Bear in 4116. Look how cool that looks, by the way. That looks like it was forgotten in the span of time and an archaeologist unearthed it. VG10 is very proven in TMP for its rust resistance. I've raved about it, right? Let's see how Krupp does. And this is pure salt, dudes. Oh, this is freaking cool. I feel like I'm unearthing a time capsule. Awesome. Look at this. I bet you I'm selling 1,000 blades right now for Cold Steel. And these things don't cost anything, and look at the rust performance that 4116 does. I believe that it was a surgical steel that was used in surgical instruments, probably for this exact purpose. Composition's at the top of the screen if you're interested, and there's lots of online information about it. Oh my gosh, dudes. Not made up, 100% true, like you see everything in TMP. Look at that. 1 month after a salt bath, 4116 Krupp. Let's go back to POU. Backpacking blade, yeah. With this type of rust resistance, I will say water blade too. Now, it's not H1. And maybe in a continuously wet salt environment, you're going to get more of this. I totally concede that point, but dang, son, are you ever going to let your knife get into this much salt and let it dry? You do that with another blade steel, AUS6 8CR13 MOV, it's going to be a rust bucket. Here's an antelope humper. Let's call it that. Here's an antelope humper knife by Kershaw. I love this blade. It's a smaller version of that Bear Hunter. Great knife. This is 8CR. You do that to this knife, you got nothing. I'm serious. You'll have nothing. It'll be so rusted because 8CR has a high carbon content. It rusts. Wow. Look at that handle too. And I'll scrape this off. It's going to be kind of sad for me to do this because, I don't know, it just is. It looks so freaking cool. Where did my scraper go? One reason I'm going to uncake this handle from Salt is I really love the thin bear handle ergonomically, and so I want to show it to you guys. We'll come back to the steel here in just a sec. Look at that. More or less salt free now, and pretty much rust free, the 4116. Again, that just, I wouldn't say it amazes me, but I'm surprised how well it did in this test. Right, and here's the handle. Very comfortable in hand, very Scandinavian, thin bear. This is kind of more of a competitor for the Mora knives in its approach. Scandinavian design, right? I love this handle. I like the grooves here. It just gives great traction. Back to BOU though. Water knife? Yeah, I would say so. You know, River Rafter, there's so many great blades. You take your pick. You would have to get a much better sheath once again. And as long as you can take the limitations of edge holding of the steel, I think you'll be super happy with it. And understand that because I did some cutting tests with the 4116. I think I was using the Outdoorsman Lite. It dulled quick. I'm not going to lie. It dulled quick. But it sharpens pretty quickly. It takes a nice edge to it. Let's check the edge on this. I put on the Edge Pro Apex. Not set up. Let's see how it does. Oh, and check this out. Remember when I broke that chaos? I rolled this knife in that review and I said, well, I hit the rocks with the Outdoorsman Lite and I did not hold back. And it's not a valid test. I'm just goofing around. But if one broke, I'm like, well, I wonder if this steel can take it. Short answer, it did. I mean, look, the bone breaker portion on the Outdoorsman Lite, it's all dinged up, but it didn't break. And look at the edge. This is after batoning with it, after digging in the rocks with it. Now my tip dulled. I had to kind of reprofile that. Beautiful edge though. What great knives these are. And I'm doing this update review for my subscribers so they put them on the list of gift items, another philosophy of use, and just as total user knives. The weight is phenomenal. The balance is excellent, especially for these larger ones. I love the balance of the larger ones. The steel I will give a solid 10 out of 10 for its price level. And I don't know if I said that in my previous reviews because I really didn't have the data. And I think I said as much. I was like, I think it's pretty good. I've done some cutting with it. I just love it with you guys. But now, for the price point, it's like VG10. Really, if you want rust resistance, that's the place to go. Talked about the handles already. I love them. There are some variances. I wish I had the Canadian belt, but I showed it in this review, right? The Yukon belt knife by Knives of Alaska. I wonder what would have happened to this knife had I done the salt test on it. I'll tell you what would happen. It would have rusted a lot because it's D2. 1 month in a salt bath? But that's not the job of this knife. Its job is to be a high-use skinny knife. So it dulls slowly and doesn't need to be sharpened a lot. Competitive options. There's some, there's not a ton. Remember the price, remember the weight. You know, are there a lot of super lightweight fixed blade knives that are affordable at Kershaw? I've shown you some. Yeah, there are a couple. Gerber has a couple, and I've reviewed them. What was that one? The Big Rock. Remember the Big Rock I talked about? I love that knife. So anytime I can find them, and I really dig them, and I can fit them into the reviewing schedule, I'll talk about them. But there's not a ton. The Moras, of course. The Mora Bushcraft is nice. Beautiful knife. I just got some updated ones, and I don't think I have them here. You can go, here's a SOG Woodline. It's just sitting out here. This isn't really in the same realm. It's kind of a hunt knife. 8CR 13 MOV. And there's, if you go up in price, then you get a lot more capability and a lot cooler knives. For instance, like this one. The SOG Seal Pup Elite. Cryo OS 8. Heavier though. Much better sheath, but heavier. Same philosophies of use. More expensive. Maybe some more capabilities and strength. So if I have to pry with this knife, I'd much rather do it than with a SOG a SOG pup than I would these. So there are some competitive options, but they really thin out when you remember the price, which we will say is around 20 or less for most of these knives. And for that, you get an excellent quality level. Hey, Nutnfancy, if you're going to use it as a tactical blade, a fighting blade, which would you choose out of all these? I would be just as happy with the Outdoorsman Lite or the Tanto Lite. Maybe a slight edge in the Tanto Lite for the longer handle and the capability to impact. The Tanto blade is very proven. Go to Cold Steel's website; they'll show these knives. I think maybe in the light models, you know, doing incredible things. They have one kind of cool, that is utility. First kind of cool. Second, not so much. It's 4116. They're not super handsome knives. They're utilitarian in nature. But damn, son, the value is off the chart, as is the performance level for what you're getting. You know, you're seeing now that a lot of companies are coming up to Cold Steel's level, like Spyderco making the Tatanka. You might see more knives along these lines from the other makers, and there's some others out there that I haven't talked about. But, I mean, how do you beat them price-wise? I don't know. Hall of Famers all. Nutnfancy. See ya.